Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the General Counsel MasterClass Series by Contract Pod AI. I am Charles Dimov. I'm the Global Vice President for Marketing at Contract Pod AI, and happy today to have Erik Estrada with me. Erik, before I go into any further, can you tell me a little bit about yourself and a little bit about Liberty Latin America?
Sure, Charles, thanks. So again, my name is Erik Estrada. I'm a Senior Director and Senior Corporate Counsel for Liberty Latin America. We're a publicly traded company on NASDAQ. So we IPO'd at the end of 2017. We have operations in Latin America, South America, and the Caribbean. We have approximately 10,000 employees. And that's a brief summary of our company.
Yeah, that's pretty good. You guys are really, when you say international company, you guys definitely hit the mark on international, which is good.
Absolutely, yes. We have opcos in approximately 40 countries.
40 countries, that's amazing. That is spectacular. Also, lots of great opportunity there from that perspective. So, Erik, tell me a little bit about, so Liberty Latin America. You guys have a CLM, so a contract lifecycle management system, and you've had it for a couple of years now. Just what does it feel like to have all your contracts and all your documents at your fingertips, specifically now during this, while we're going through all the pandemic stuff, which is tough because a lot of companies don't have a system like this.
Yeah, it's a good question. So when we IPO'd, we obviously needed to identify a vendor. And so we went through that process. We demoed a lot of different platforms, and we felt like Contract Pod AI was the best platform for us. Not only the AI functionality, but also the ability to have the platform be presented in Spanish, just given our markets. And so in hindsight, we've had them they've been a partner with us for about 2.5 years. And in hindsight, it was a great choice, a great selection. We really enjoy the whole team. And you're right, given COVID and the pandemic and all of us working remotely, just the ability for anyone on the team, the legal team, to be able to access an agreement right from their home has been huge.
Yeah, that's specifically, I think now, if anything, now during this, the pandemic, during the crisis, it's probably been a big crunch for a lot of companies because, exactly to your point, it's nice to have it at your fingertips. There's no difference between whether I was at the office or working from home, which all of us have been doing lately. Now, the other thing actually I wanted to ask you about is, I know this was a while ago, but when you were doing the deployment, you kind of opted for the out-of-the-box functionality, which is great, and focused on configuration rather than customization and coding. So tell me, has that served Liberty Latin America well?
Yeah, the out-of-the-box functionality has served us well. We have customized it just a bit over the last couple of years, but for the most part, again, the basic platform has served all of our needs. And I will say too that it's made our job more effective and efficient, just in terms of, again, some of the processes that we had prior to adopting the platform are now gone. And especially, again, this remote works environment that we're in, the ability to process signatures remotely, for example, has been a huge benefit.
And so you said some of the processes are gone. Really? Can you elaborate a little bit more on that?
It just, again, using the DocuSign feature. So certainly out of the box from Contract Pod, you get to get the DocuSign licenses, which has been huge. And then we had what was called contract summary form. So we've been able to, minimize the number of those that we have to circulate as well because of the platform. And so again, it's made what we do just more efficient in our day-to-day jobs.
Wow, that's great to hear. That's amazing. So the other thing as well is, having chatted with a couple of other customers, when we start talking about out-of-the-box solutions, generally they do typically deploy faster because they're not kind of going through that design phase and customization of coding and testing and all that and that end. So I think a lot of headaches kind of go away on the implementation side, which is good. Now, was that your experience? Because I don't want to put words in your mouth, or what was your experience?
Yeah, it was a pretty quick process from when we selected Contract Pod to having it up and running. Again, the team at Contract Pod is phenomenal. And so we had Joe, Joe was our assigned, implementer, and just working with him to making sure that we could get it up as soon as possible, which we were able to do. So, in terms of a matter of months, we were able to deploy it to everyone within the legal department. And now that other departments have seen it, actually are using it as well, which I think is a testament to the platform itself. Whether it's procurement or accounting, they've been able to see the legal team use it and the advantages that it has. And so now they are thinking about how can we use it, for our day job as well.
Excellent. That's really fantastic. So, in fact, on that side, I wanted to ask you a little bit about some of the automation you saw. Oh, and by the way, thanks so much for that call out for Joe. Joseph, he is a really fantastic, individual on the CS side. So again, I'll make sure to take that back and pat him on the back for sure. Now, switching gears over to the automation. So contract automation. It's a hot topic in the legal space and certainly in the contracting space. Now, Contract Pod AI, definitely we come with the contract automation capabilities. Who in the company at Liberty Latin America is really using this? Is it mostly the legal team, or are there other business users who started leveraging it as well? And it sounds like you just mentioned that there are some other teams who found this really interesting.
Yeah, that's right. So currently it's mostly the legal team, but again, as other departments see the functionality, procurement has utilized it, and so we've had other departments access well. And again, I think it's just a testament to the ease of use. Certainly all of us went through training, so you're able to maneuver it pretty easily without a training. So to your point, other people see it was a great CMS tool.
Right. Now, I know inside of legal teams, a lot of times, the attraction to something like contract automation is, hey, this is wonderful. Helps reduce my workload, takes away some of the mundane tasks because I don't have to worry about, the simpler projects, the NDAs. Maybe if it's a standard contract, why should the attorney be involved in the standard contract? Just get it done, get it out there, et cetera, let it go. So did you find that has it helped at Liberty Latin America to reduce some of your workload or maybe, reduce some of the amount of time that the legal team has to work on new contracts? I don't know, any thoughts from that side?
Yeah, it has. So certainly when we went through the implementation process, we uploaded our standard templates, like you mentioned, the NDAs. So I would say yes, right? When you have the standard template in the system, it just makes it, producing that document more efficient. And so that's certainly been our experience with those standard templates that we have to issue a lot of. It's been able to reduce the amount of time that we devote to those.
Mm-hmm. And the other thing that you mentioned, which let me call up, Erik, is you mentioned something about the intuitive, like the easy to use system. So an intuitive user interface. I know that's always helpful, right? It means that, people they find it easier to use. They find it easier to learn. I think learning is really, really important because you want adoption to happen. So, was it really important at Liberty Latin America in terms of that interface? Did it help simplify the system? Did it help you with adoption?
It definitely helped with adoption because, again, it's so intuitive. Just in terms of the generate contract button, things like that. That again, if you've never taken the training for how to use the platform, which again we all have, but if you didn't, it would be so intuitive to figure out how to use it. And especially, as the younger generation comes up through the ranks, because we've, always been exposed and a part of technology. And so I think that, again, it's just so intuitive from what we've seen with other things that we use in our day lives.
That's actually interesting. So the folks who are coming up through the ranks, did you find it easier? Of course, I guess the younger generation is a little bit more amenable to kind of taking on new technology and stuff. But how about some of the older generation in the company? Did you find was it really, really difficult to get them to adopt and to come on board, or what was your experience there?
It's not difficult, but they just definitely prefer the trainings to get that formal training to make sure that they understand all the bells and whistles. Where again, I think if you're, younger, you're just going to play with it until you figure out all those bells and whistles.
Yeah, for sure, exactly. So what does the next year look like for you? Kind of regarding the, your use of the new CLM. Frankly, I guess we're at a precarious time. We're kind of going into the fourth quarter. Who knows? It looks like the pandemic is continuing along, right? Maybe until 2021. Hopefully, we'll be out of the weeds by that point. But again, what do you see as the future from your perspective? Where are you guys going with the CLM, with your next steps?
With respect to the pandemic. And so I think, again, having tools that people can utilize from their home is going to be key. I think shifting over from contract management platforms to just the Zoom platform, the Microsoft Teams platform, right? Tools like that are going to be huge. And so again, having that ability for no matter where someone's located, the ability to have their computer and to do their job efficiently, that's going to be the future. And I think for us, having Contract Pod is part of that, where we can continue to work from home until we get through this pandemic.
Well, that's great to hear. Thank you for that last pitch there. So how about you yourself? What's your favorite part of the system? I mean, and it doesn't have to be ours, but what is it that you like most? What has saved you the most amount of time or made it easy or your life easier? Yeah.
Great question. And so when I take these personality tests, all of them tell me I'm big picture oriented, right? I can solve these complex problems, but my weakness is day-to-day organization. And so for me, having this helps me, right? Because it keeps track of everything that I'm working on. When something is done, the ability to then send it out for signature quickly, to get automatic notifications that the signature process is done. And so we have a fully executed agreement. And so again, just thinking about who I am, having that tool, which again is one of my weaknesses, the details, that's been huge for me.
So it sounds like you're really sold on a CLM. Regardless of where you are, darn it, you need one.
Yeah, and too, all of us came from law firms. And when you're in big law in that setting, right, we all have something similar. And so then when you make the transition in-house to have some tool that again helps you with your day-to-day job, is something that we expect, right, from our training. And so this, for us, has been that solution.
Oh, that's fantastic. So, Erik, any last final words here? Final words of advice to any GCs out there, in-house attorneys looking to bring on a CLM system. What would you tell them to say, hey, you got to think about this?
That's a great question. I think looking back, I think just the fact that Contract Pod is it's not a startup anymore because of the huge $55 million investment, but just the mentality, I think, that comes with a younger company, that we're hungry, right? We're driving to perfect the platform, to make it as good as it can be, and then to have that recent influx in capital. And so we didn't anticipate that, but I think that Contract Pod has been able to use that to, again, make it as good as it can be, to, again, capture that market share that's out there. Because I think when you look at a lot of the big providers, and I won't name names, but when you look at a lot of the big CMS platforms, they're no longer in that stage, right? They're not hungry. They're not trying to perfect their platform. They feel good about what they have. I would say those aren't as intuitive to maneuver and to figure out how to use. And so in retrospect, I think, we didn't think about that, but I think it's been nice that you guys are continually pushing the envelope to make it as good as it can be.
That's awesome. Well, Erik, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me. This has absolutely been a delight. And again, and thank you so much for saying such nice words as well about both the system and some of the folks who have worked here. I'm glad that your service experience has been a positive one, and you guys have been an absolutely great customer to deal with as well. So again, thank you so much. And with that, that's the end of this GC Masterclass.